Heyo, my Planet Zoo friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to some more Planet Zoo Let's Build. Today, or where do I even begin? We last episode we just kind of did a bit of everything around the hippo area, and then I think at the end of that episode I was talking about expanding the entrance area, and that's what we're doing today. We're making a big grandioso entrance area with 2 enclosures. So now we're gonna have our hippos, our lions. Well, the lions aren't done yet. That'll hopefully be the next episode, but we're getting low on funds here. As you can see, 112,000 in the bottom corner. We started with 150, so we're less than half of our funding. By the end of this episode, I think I have 90,000. So I have 90,000 to do the lions, and once that's ready to go, we can put all of our animals in and hopefully not go bankrupt and push play and see what happens. So let's talk about the build. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to make a custom staff area. Now I want to get into this more, doing more of these custom hidden staff areas. I much prefer them to than just making buildings. I basically want to do that all the time. Hide us, put down the basic shape staff centers, cover them up, and then just kind of like just keep covering them until they almost disappear. This one isn't completely enclosed, but I like the way it turned out. The building is pretty boxy, and it just has wood on top. It's a stone slate surface on the front, or stone brick. I don't know what it is. Anyways. Yeah, it's pretty basic. It has wood on top. It's very flat and boxy, but I knew that going into it that I was going to spruce it up. Basically, the idea here, what I'm doing is I'm building a giant rock mound that kind of cascades downward and outward, and the building's wedged into that. So I want the staff building to look like it was built into the side of like a mountain, a big rock mound. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to construct, I had the idea, and I think I talked about this a little bit in the last episode. I wanted to do a cascading waterfall that rolled down into our monitor enclosure. So yes, I have decided that I'm going with the monitors and the tortoises. And that's what this whole split area is. And I'm messing with the glass. I was trying to see if like I could grab the glass and move it in, but the collision option isn't working. And I thought it would have been cool to like make a glass circle and put it in there and actually fill it with water. And honestly, as I'm building this, I had no idea how I was going to do the water. So I was like, I can't just put water in there without the glass, because I don't think you could just grab a circle of rocks and fill it with water. I haven't really tried it, but I wouldn't see how that, I don't think that would work, to be honest. But maybe I could try it. So what I'm doing looks really ugly, and it's just the framework of basically a trail, a trail of water, a stream. And I'm just trying to lay it out, and I'm going to improve it and tweak it, tune it, move it. And then I'm putting like the dirt layer on top. So again, I don't know how the water is going to work. And luckily in this game, they have some really good options for water effects. And you can actually basically put water on anything you want. And we pulled it off. And I'm very happy about that, because I was like, well, maybe I could just trick the game by doing water splashes. And that was like my plan B. I'll just do water splashes everywhere and fake it. Or my plan C would have been do those blue basic shapes, like a light blue, and make it like cartoony water. So that would be the worst case scenario, and I was fine with that. So we would have done one of those options, but what we ended up getting was actually really realistic. So what I'm trying to do here is align the glass, and I'm doing it into kind of like a sunken down area so that we could get a water viewing area on our monitors, because the monitors do like the water apparently. So we want to have a water viewing area. So I'm building up the rock on a slopey area, and then building it up to the glass so that we can get at least half of that glass filled with water. But I'm obviously struggling here because we're so close to the path that the terraforming won't let us modify the actual terrain. So what I'm trying to do is make a piece of the glass jut out from the post, and then make that kind of fill the area of where, yeah, see, you'll see it there, but then it overfills and flows over the backside. So you can actually do that. You can make a piece of glass just like jut out and that'll work as terrain. So thankfully for that little hot fix, we were able to fill the whole thing with water and do it quite high. It's technically above ground level because we've put a slope in and all that. So the guests actually do see into the water in the end, and we'll show that off a little bit more in the spotlight when we go into it. Just trying to look at the time on Premiere. So it looks like we got about 10-15 minutes. It's crazy because these speed builds, whenever I do these like voiceovers on the speed builds, they're usually about 15 minutes every single time. And then we go in and we look around for like 10 minutes and we get like a perfect 30-minute episode. But 15 minutes at 8 times speed, you guys, that's like a 2-hour build. So yeah, and then I do a lot of stuff off camera and the game just crashed there and I was so freaking out because I hadn't saved since I started this whole area, and there was an autosave that literally was just before I started building this bridge, and I was like, oh my god, thank god. I was freaking out because that took a while. What seems to you guys to be only 10 minutes or something, or 6 minutes, times that by 8. It was a lot longer. It took me almost an hour. So yeah, it was a lot, and I was freaking out because I didn't want to have to redo all that. So luckily, its autosave came through. So I didn't know if I still don't know if the employee will walk over this. It counts as a floor, but like I was like, oh crap, like we have this thing, this area on the other side of the little creek. What happens if the monitors start pooping over there? How are our employees supposed to get over there and clean it? There's no way. They're not going to cross over the water. So I made a bridge, and I hope the employees are going to use that bridge. We don't know. So we might have a problem. But this is the beta. Worst case scenario, if it gets really dirty and they're not cleaning it, I'll move the barrier over. Because the monitors only require like 300 square feet or something, 300 square meters, and we have more than enough. This was scary, because in order to see the effects, I had to go on play mode. And this is the first time since we started this park that we've actually put it on play mode, which means I have no profits and I have nothing but expenses. So I was trying to pause the game, stop the game, pause the game. Like, I just wanted to take a look at the effects and try to figure out what their orientation was. So there's this one that just flows out. It's a big flowy thing, and you can see that it pushes the water forward. And I was like, this is perfect. And then because the water ripple has this ripple effect, it looks like it's water. So you put those effects all together and you simulate water. So I have mid waterfalls, upper waterfalls, bottom waterfalls. I have circular water ripples, and all that together makes that whole waterfall look pretty realistic. I wouldn't say it's the best. Only downside is if you go inside the staff rooms, they're getting soaked in there, but we don't need to look inside of those. It's fine. So yeah, that waterfall actually turned out to actually work, and you can see it there even though it's in fast motion. We'll take a closer look in game in just a bit, but now that I got it working, I'm super stoked about it, and we're just gonna fill it up. Now it is a little bit strange that you have like a rocky creek on top of a staff building, but the idea was that the staff building was built into the rocks, and there's not a whole lot of weight actually on top of the staff building, just a few rocks, and yeah, it can make sense, I think. I think it's well supported, structurally sound to hold all that up, so I think it's fine. But it is neat because now you have like this big cascading waterfall that rolls over the top of a building and back down into a creek that runs into an exhibit. Man, that's such a neat idea. I'm very happy with the way that turned out. And the staffing area is far away from the guests where it doesn't bother them. So we're golden. So we saw a jump cut there. There's a little tiny turtle thing in the center. And somebody made a glass dome garden, and I messed around with those shapes, those hexagons or whatever, and I can't figure it out. My brain, I would have to spend hours and hours to make a giant perfect dome. They made a small dome, which was really well done, and it was meant for like guests to go through. I just deleted everything else other than the dome. And now I'm recoloring it. I even go in there and delete the plant in the center. I deleted some of the faces on the sides, and I'm basically modifying someone's blueprint that I saw in the Steam Workshop because it looks like a turtle. I was like, this is perfect. So it's like a little glass, basically dome cover area for the turtles to go hang out in, and we'll put some habitat goodies inside of there. Hopefully the employee will actually go inside of it too, because if that's the case, we could put the food in there. And then I just have some thatched roofs. The turtles really like the shade, and they like to be covered, so that's why we have that big long thing with jig right there in front of us. And then the turtle enclosure, that should be more than enough, because this is probably twice the size of my last tortoise area that we had in the previous park. It was just that little circle area. I wanted to build my own custom enclosures, and I was messing around with the parts and looking at stuff, and I just like, you know what, I'm not feeling it. I don't want to spend hours and hours of the beta making buildings. I want to make a zoo before time is up. So that's just what we ended up going with, is modifying one blueprint from the Steam Workshop for the glass turtle house, and then we modified the in-game shelters to kind of do a nice arcing pathway. And then we put one over for the monitors. Now, this isn't final, like we're gonna go into game and check it out, but like we have to modify it further, because once we actually get the animals in, we're gonna go, okay, we need more sand, we need more rock, what kind of bushes do they like bushes at all? And then I can go into the nature selection and figure out exactly what they like, because I really want to decorate the pond the way I've done it in the past with the what are they called, the reeds and the lily pads and all that stuff, and even some of the stuff that I'm doing up top here. I would like to do more of that, but I don't know what the monitors like, and I don't know what kind of, you know, what kind of bushes and things that they like. So I have to figure that part out, and once I do, I'll go in there and decorate further. So we're going to fine tune that just a little bit, but that shouldn't take us very long at all. I think we'll do that in one big foul swoop. We'll go around and you know, give all the hippos what they need, decorate that, decorate the turtle area, decorate the monitors, decorate the lions, and that'll just be like one full episode, and then we'll look at it all in play mode and see everyone interacting. So I put some dirt on the roof, and I actually wanted to build it in with wood and make it like a potted area, but at the end of the day, you can't really tell. So there's some dirt on the roof. I mean, I guess I could put some boards around the outside of it just to kind of yeah, maybe I'll do that. It's kind of bugging me now, getting OCD. Yeah, so maybe I'll put some wood lining around it, but I think the garden on the rooftop's kind of nice. And then I had to put the hippo at the top of the waterfall, because the hippo really is like the hero of our park. This is the hippo park, if anything. Such a big sprawling area for the hippos. Touching up some rose bushes around the side. I'm trying to make it similar to the decorations we did in the last episode on the adjacent side. And looks like we're at the end of the speed build here. So why don't we hop into game and take a closer look at this in real time. Boom! All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are at Zanzibar Zoo. Another mini park tour. So yeah, we filled in our whole little area. As you can see here, this is the monitor enclosure. And this is the turtle. Tortoises, I know, I named it turtles. Just to drive you guys a little crazy. Now what's interesting is I didn't know if I would have had to do a double fence here, but if you click on this one, it shares the same borders. Like this wall here, this glass wall, is actually shared between the two animals. So that is in fact a functioning thing that works in the game. So I was actually pretty happy about that. So we've sectioned them off. Now, I'm going to have to push play mode so you guys can see this. There we go. Look at that. It looks like water's in here. Okay, we got to pause it. We're getting alerts already. Look at, upkeep is 3,000 almost. And our profits are nothing. That's what I'm really scared of, is like, yeah, we're gonna lose money like crazy. So we're trying to make the most of the last 90,000, and assuming, you know, we have a lot of tigers and hippos, we should be, and then we have enough conservation credits to buy high quality turtles and monitors, and then hopefully between the 4 exhibits that should be enough to bring in a profit, and hopefully the profits start outweighing the negatives and we don't just go bankrupt and lose our park. Worst case scenario, we take out loans, but that is super sketchy in the beta. I wouldn't recommend it. We've we've noticed that I mean, they might have fixed it by now through a patch or something, I don't know. So anyways, the water's working. It looks great, but inside the staff houses there's a little bit of water seeping through. It's not this one's really bad, and this is actually the staff area where they come to take their breaks and they just get doused. But the interesting thing about this game is the actual, when it rains, if you're undercover, you won't get wet. So it's interesting that they didn't apply those physics to these, because I guess they are just VFX after all. So yeah, we have the single-sided glass around the whole thing, but then on this side, yeah, you can see through it. So once we get the monitors in here and swimming about, the guests should actually be able to enjoy that quite nicely. They have their own little home that we can spy on them while they sleep. I might have to flatten that out just a bit to get their beds in here. I'm not sure how much cover they like, but between that and the bridge, they should be pretty chill. I don't know if they're actually going to use that or not, but we're going to have to wait and see. And I'm not sure if they're going to climb the rocks and get out. Hopefully not. But we can always raise that up there a little bit or figure out a solution if that becomes a problem. Now, I wanted to do like something other than the glass for this side, but like I could have lowered that a little bit, or but I wanted them to have privacy. So they think they're not being watched, but they are. A hedge would have been nice because you can look over it, but the green hedge would just simply not have worked in our composition. I mean, yeah, I guess that little bit of green would go there, but it doesn't. We would have none on this side. It would just feel imbalanced. I mean, you don't always want to go for a symmetrical build. It's good to have it a little bit different, which I have, but generally speaking, it would have just thrown things off a little bit. So there's plenty of cover. Shout out to whoever. Well, let me bring up the Planet Coaster Workshop so I can give a proper shout out. So the actual creator of the Bubble Dome, it's called Bubble Dome. Bubble Dome with Doorway was created by Plastic Swans, and it was a little garden for your guests to go in. It's meant to be pathed with benches inside and an information stand, which I deleted all that stuff. So it actually is big enough for the guests to walk in, and there's a path that can go all the way around. But we switched it up and turned it into a turtle house because it freaky looks like a turtle. It's amazing. I love that. I was a little worried how it would look because it's like that. It almost has that, you know, modern glass, and it's a little bit too futuristic to go next to all of our like Indian thatch roof stuff. But once I colored it green, it kind of worked. So it turned out pretty good. So there it is. There's the back side. Oh, we have some floaters. No! I guess I could just bring these guys up. Boop, boop. Problem solved. Good, good. Yeah, it's looking good from all angles, I think. I like the way how it's like hugging the pathway. It's rolling down the staff buildings. Staff building could use a little bit more sprucing. I do think it's a little bit flat and boxy. But with the surroundings, I think it turned out pretty good. I don't want to focus too much on the minute things. I really want to get things going. So with that said, the front area is looking great. The back area is looking great. We have our underground area, which is looking pretty good. Like it, I like it. And we have our underground staff area. I mean, it doesn't look the prettiest, but it works. All I really need to do is spruce up the outer parameters, get the educational stuff going. And I did show this off in a previous episode. We have a good chunk of education, but now we got to add that to the front. We got to add some to the tortoises and to the monitors, and yeah, just expand that outward. Put our donation bins everywhere. I do kind of want to make a custom sign here for the hippos, something something there, a sign like we did out front, and then just duplicate that and put that on both sides, because that is the main viewing area for our hippos. So it'd be nice to kind of introduce it. Maybe I'll just put hungry hippos or something. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm gonna put together like a pre-made garden thing that's a certain section long, maybe 2 of them, like a big one and then a smaller one, and then I'll put the big one there, duplicate the small one, small one, small one, big one. Yeah, something like that. And then we'll spruce up the outside. And I think that brings it all together and ties the theming of the main central area. And then we can start focusing on whatever's going to happen for the lions. So I had this idea of doing like a pride rock, and then I saw somebody actually did one. Let's see if we have it here. I'm just curious to know. Pride? There it is. There's a few people have made these, but my problem is it's way too repetitive. You gotta switch up the boulders, like that's just sticking through. I mean, I might be able to adjust it. It's very repetitive looking. I mean, from a distance, it kind of resembles the Pride Rock, but not quite as polished as I would have liked it to be. And it might be a little bit too steep, to be honest. I think the one in Lion King was a little bit not as steep. So it'd be nice to have it so that it was like embedded into the ground, and even just the backside's a cave so they can come through and actually go up top. I don't know. I don't know if the lions know how to navigate the rocks, if the AI is programmed to do that. But if we stretched out the terrain to like here, yeah, I don't know. It would be cool. It's a cool concept. I just thought it would be amazing to actually have lions coming up here and like looking down at the people. And if you're, in the park and you see lions up there, like, oh my God, let's go to the lion area. But I think that the rock work is it's too much to fix here. Like, just so much repetition. Just think it needs a little bit more polish. But from a distance, it looks pretty good. It was a neat idea that I wanted to play around with. But now I don't think it's going to work. It's $5,000 too. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll just it don't need the Pride Rock. Honestly, the Pride Rock, it's too Lion King. And it detracts from us doing our own thing. But I do like the idea of the lions roaming around up on a mountainside and being able to see them. But I want something where like the guests can interact with them. So I got to come up with a game plan for this. And I think it would be cool where the paths come out, because we have the 2 paths, and they come out here, but then we push the ground in here, and then we put all the staff buildings into the mountain. That way our staff can pop out and and then we have like a bit of an overhang and kind of hide that a little bit, and then the guests can kind of come up above the staff buildings and come into the lion enclosure. Then you have the lions kind of running about all around the outside, in the front, and up top. That might be too much. We'll see. So I got some planning to do and some tinkering. I really wish you could have multiple saves in franchise mode, because it's a big risk. Like, I start spending all this money and there's only so many Control Z's, right? So whatever I end up trying, it's gonna just tank my money, and then even if I'm not happy with it, I can't just revert my save. So I might have to take this to the drawing board and think about a few things before I get started. But that's the game plan, right? Because we don't have any animals in yet, but we have most of the areas ready. So with our last 90,000, I want to try to get the bulk of this ready, get it interactive, looking nice, get our pathways figured out, get our staff area figured out, and then start decorating that, making it look good, and then take our money down to the limit, push it to the limit, and and then we can put everything in, because I can't even buy the freaking monitors and tortoises right now, because in my animal trade center we're at 36 out of 30. Ooh, gave me a scare there. I was like, yeah, we're at 36 out of 30, so I can't buy anything until I start putting them in. But most of this is lions, so we need to put the lions back. And just a fair warning to anyone, when I was deleting all this stuff in the last episode to prep for this, I accidentally deleted my trade center, and I literally just hard powered off my computer, because if you control F4 this, or you go into your task manager and kill the game, it still saves. So I literally just turned my computer off, because if you delete the trade center, all your animals disappear. Even if you put it back, they're gone. So a little bit of fair warning to you. If you're doing what I did, where you made a cash farm and you put all your animals away and then you delete everything, don't accidentally delete your trade center. You might want to put a second one off to the side, just so that doesn't happen. I think we have one downstairs. Yeah, I think I added one in right here. So if we need to release animals, I'm going to keep that one there though, because when we actually do get the animals in here, I want them to be able to get to it quickly. But we'll delete that in the long run. And with this area, like the tortoises and the monitors, they're not going to be multiplying and getting out of control. You're not going to be selling that many. They're in few numbers, so they're not breeding a whole lot, and the turtles take forever to grow up. I don't know about the monitors. So even if we deleted that and we eventually got rid of some of these guys, even if they had to run all the way over here down the stairs and put them in there to get rid of them, or maybe if you pack them up, they just go straight into the trade center. I don't even think they have to be transferred. It's only when you put them in that they have to run. So we might be okay. My thought was, like, we don't want the staff moving around a lot. And I think that's something I've done better this time around, because like all the staff working down here for the food courts, they have a nice staff room hanging out back here, and the people upstairs, I think I built them a staff room here. Yes, they have a staff room. So, and then we have two small what are they called, keeper huts. So basically one for this side and one for this side, and then I put a workshop in there as well as a research center, so if they're doing research they can go in and go. Yeah, they're really close. Eventually, once I have all the research done, I could probably delete the research center and put in maybe another trade center or something. We'll figure it out. But we have more than enough amenities here for our staff. And then also downstairs and on this side, we have this whole underground area to take care of the hippos. A large staff facility. I think that might be overkill. The veterinarians, I didn't think about that for over here. But I think we're good, because how often are turtles and monitors going to get injured, especially with so few numbers? They will have to truck it all the way over there unless I fix something in. No, it's too late. Worst case scenario, we add some more exhibits and we give them a staffing area. In the long run, we can fix the problem. But I think my planning has generally been better this time around. And if I set work rosters, it'll, just work on the hippos and the food over here. You guys just work over here and in the cave. And then we'll do something for the lions where we have a staffing area here, and then they can get into the exhibit quite easily there. And they just work the lion area. So I think it's spaced out quite nicely this time around. So I'm happy about everything. Boom. Yep, so I think that's the plan, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to try to spend our last money on the lions, fill in the last bits, get in all of our education, get in our donation bins, and freaking open this part. Now, that's not the end. Once we have the lions in and it's decorated and looking good, it's not over there. That's just where we open it up. Well, it might be over. It could frankly be over. We could open this thing up and it does not make enough money compared to the outgoing expenses. The upkeep could be higher than the profits, and that would be terrible. But I'm hoping that the lions, the hippos, the turtles, and the monitors is more than enough to give us a profit, and hopefully all my staff buildings isn't such a high upkeep. So we'll see. Once the lions are done, we can either go bankrupt and that's the end of us, and I cry, and yeah, I spend the rest of my beta just doing nothing, because I'm not restarting again. No way in hell. But yes, in theory, if everything goes well and we get the lions in, we can start thinking about doing some squiggly enclosures around the outside. So that'll be a whole new planning phase for us. And I'm excited to get to that point where we can enjoy the fruits of our labor and think about some expansions. What day is it today? We're moving into Friday right now. So I got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'm not going to play on Tuesday. Monday, I'm going to just show you guys whatever I have. So technically I got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I got 3 more days to play this. Shoot, that's not enough. It's not enough time. It's seriously not enough time. Well, we'll see what happens. Let's hope for the best, and hopefully I make at least a decent park or zoo by the time the beta's over. Hey, if we would have been putting all this effort into our old zoo, man, that thing would have been looking awesome. It's just, yeah, we had too many animals and crashed the game. So, learning our lesson, fixing things up. So there you guys go. Leave your comments down below. Love reading your guys' comments, and thank you guys so much for tuning into this whole series, sticking with me through the 3 different parks that we've done so far, and I think this is definitely turning out to be the best one. So super thrilled about that, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now.